Hello there, how are you doing? Now in this video, let's talk about magic methods. Okay, so there are a couple of magic methods such as constructors, toString, get, set, and so on. Okay, so why don't we actually go to PHP official documentation? So PHP magic methods. Okay, so as you can see, these are the magic methods available in PHP. Construct, destruct, call, get, set. There are quite a lot of them. So, and the toString and so on. So we're going to cover a few of them, such as construct. It is one of the most popular one, and you should know how to use construct. In fact, we're going to use that right away. Okay, so let's go do that. So how we instantiating here is we're writing multiple lines of code to instantiate, right? So instead, what we can do is we can use constructors. Okay. So what is constructor? Is constructors are obviously the magic methods, but how do they work? Okay. So the way they work is they are first of all they are predefined class methods that PHP engine executes under some events, okay, such as instantiating. So instantiating an object. So when you do something like that, it automatically runs. This constructor function will automatically run by PHP. Okay, so PHP will execute these class methods such as constructor. Okay, so let's give it a try. How do we begin? We begin by creating a construct function. Okay, so right after the properties, let's create. So we start by saying public function, and all these magic methods, they begin with double underscore. Okay, so this is double underscore, and then you write construct. Okay, so this is the function. Now this function will take the arguments. Okay, so what arguments you want to pass? You want to pass all these arguments, like, because the ISBN, title, author, and available, they are the ones being used to instantiate, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying not to write all these lines of code. We want to use one of these magic methods so that it's easier. So all these ISBN, title, author, we are writing it manually. Instead, we pass as an argument. Okay, so let's begin. ISBN, another argument is title, another argument is author, and then the final argument available. All right, so this constructor takes 4 arguments, and this will set using this. I guess this title equals to, sorry, let's begin by ISBN equals to ISBN. Okay. Okay, so let me copy this instead of make it easier. So for title, author, and available. Okay, so this title equals to title, this author equals to author, and then this available equals to available. Okay, so we already know that this has access to the properties and methods. So this means the object itself. So when it says this ISBN, means it is setting this the property we have. It has no value, but this constructor will take all these values as arguments and set. Okay, so that way we can instantiate many times, and the many different instance with many different title and author will all have their own result. Okay, so that's how it works. So public function construct, take all these arguments and set. It will set like so. Okay, So that's awesome. Now what happens is this constructor function, it doesn't have a return statement. As you can see, it's not like regular function. That's why it is one of the magic methods. Okay, it runs behind the scene by PHP as soon as some events such as instantiation happens. Okay, so what we can do is, now that we have a constructor, what we can do is, instead of doing all this, we can get rid of it. In fact, let me write it down before I get rid of it. Okay, so what we can do is I can pass all these arguments straight to this function. Okay, straight to this constructor. Okay, so we instantiate a new book, and since we have this constructor method here, and this method runs automatically when we instantiate. Okay, so what we can do is we can pass these as arguments. So we can pass the first argument ISBN. Let's copy and paste here, comma, and then this is the title. Make sure you copy with the quotes. Okay, so that's done. And then the author name, comma, that's done. And then available. Okay, so available, let's set it to 10. All right, set to 10, and now we can all get rid of all this. Awesome. Now how easy it is to instantiate a new object using constructor, as you can see, right? Awesome. So does this work like before? Let's give it a try. Come here, refresh, and as you can see, it's working fine. See, here's a copy of Harry Potter and all that. Awesome. So this is how you use constructor. You want certain things to happen. As soon as you instantiate, then you use constructor. Okay, so you will see such examples being used in Laravel framework. Okay, so anytime you will see the construct function, you will not be afraid of it, right? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so we learned how to use constructor. Now let's cover one more magic method, that is toString, just to get you and give you some idea about magic methods. Okay, so let's do that in the next video. Thank you. Hello there, how are you doing? Now in this video, let's cover one more magic method, that is toString. Okay, so they are called magic method for a reason, because whenever you instantiate a class, they run automatically behind the scene. Okay, so let's try this one as well. So let me create this function, public function and double underscore toString. Okay, this magic method. So what I want to do is I want to just print out the same thing. In fact, why don't I copy this one? It's going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be similar. So let me copy this because I just want to show you how these functions work. Okay, so let me change this name to toString. Let's try this method, toString. How does it work? It should return the title by author automatically, right? So we have instantiated this class, okay, and then instead of var_dump, let's do echo. Okay, echo. So what we're doing is we're echoing the new instance of object. We're not saying that Harry Potter title or anything like that. We're just echoing the object itself. But because these magic methods run behind the scene, so as soon as it is instantiated, the result we can see. So if I echo the new instance itself and go to the browser and refresh, as you can see, Harry Potter and the magicians were together. So that is the outcome of this function, toString. Otherwise, if you don't believe me, because this also has the same method, it is returning the same result. But if I comment this out, okay, and then let me refresh, as you can see, object of class book could not convert it to string, as you can see. But because we use this magic method toString, that worked awesome. Okay, so these are magic methods, they're pretty magical. Okay, so the one you would use most is construct. We use that. In this lesson, let me cover a few more topics. Okay, for example, we have this all these arguments. What if I don't supply the one of those arguments? For example, available. Okay, So when I instantiate it, I pass the value of 10. Okay. What if I don't supply any value? What happens? Let's save this one. In fact, let's call this comma, save, and refresh. Okay, you get this error saying onCaught argument count error, too few arguments to function block. Okay, so that happens. Now we can prevent that using default arguments. Okay, so these things, arguments and type hinting, these topics also we're going to cover in this lesson. Okay, so default arguments, like you saw, if we forget to pass these arguments, we get the error. Now the solution is making the passing the default argument. For example, available, if nothing is passed, I can set to 0. Okay, so this is called default arguments. Okay, so this becomes super useful in time. Okay, so if you don't get any input from there, from the user or whatever, then you can use the default argument. But if it is supplied from there, that will take the precedence, and then this will be overshadowed by the one supplied. Okay, so if I set it to 0 and refresh, as you can see, we didn't get the error and we get not available because it's set to 0. Now if I set to 0, but still if I supply set 10, this will be used and not the default one. Okay, so it's fresh, as you can see, not available is gone. Okay, so that's one default argument is done. Another is type hinting, and this is super awesome. Okay, so when you get all these arguments, you can type hint by saying what sort of argument you want. For example, ISBN, you always want it to be integer, numbers, right? You don't want it to be string, because ISBN will always be integer. So what you can do is you can type hint saying int. Okay, so same with the title, you know it's going to be string, it has to be string, right? So you can type hint string. Author will be string. Available will be int. Okay, I just need to put here int. Okay, awesome. Now let me refresh. It works fine. Nothing has happened. But what if, because I have said it should be integer, but now let's say if I try to give string, for example, okay, let's say if I try to give string to ISBN, let's see what we get here. As you can see, onCaught type error, argument 1 passed to book must be the type of integer string given. As you can see, type hint helps a lot, especially for debugging. All right, so let me put it the way it was. Okay, so that is another thing. Type hinting is super useful. Now it's not just the string and integer type, we can type hint the class itself, and that is extremely powerful. So those topics will be covered in the future lessons. All right, so I'll see you in the very next video. Thank you.